Every 4 years, the Summer Olympics come around, and the United States pretty much beats up on the rest of the world every time in basketball. On top of that, we also see someone get the Olympic stimulus package, meaning playing on the team leads to their game ascending to a new level that we haven't seen before. And honestly, it makes total sense. Instead of spending the summer working out with cones or practice dummies, they're going up against some of the best competition in the world. Not only that, being alongside fellow NBA rivals and watching how they train every day allows players to pick up on habits of fellow superstars. It's happened every single year of the Olympics, and it's going to happen again this year as well. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at every player who received this stimmy and go over how they performed in the season following the Olympics. After that, we're going to try and predict who on this rendition of Team USA is going to be the one that takes the leap in this upcoming season. The first case of this instance happening was for maybe the most well-known team of all time, the Dream Team. With names like Magic, Michael, and Larry on this team, it was surprising to see that it was actually Charles Barkley who was the leading scorer for Team USA, averaging 18 a night. But looking back, it makes total sense that Sir Charles was as successful as he was during this tournament, because he was in a unique situation that left him with a chip on his shoulder. His relationship with the Sixers completely deteriorated after the '92 season, and it led to him getting traded to the Phoenix Suns right before the Olympics officially started. While most guys were older or just coming off a championship and conserving themselves, Barkley was rejuvenated now that he was on a contending team. He then carried this momentum into the '93 season, where he won the sole MVP of his career, averaging 25, 12, and 5, while leading his new squad to the best record in the NBA. It was without a doubt the best all-around season of his career, and while it didn't result in a championship, it was widely regarded as the best season in Phoenix Suns history. While there are plenty of reasons not to like Karl Malone, there's no denying that he was the one who received the stimulus package following the '96 Olympics. After the mania that was the Dream Team, everyone kind of seems to forget about the next iteration of Team USA. While it didn't have the star-studded names of 1992, this roster was still loaded, especially in the front court. With Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon, and David Robinson on the team, Karl Malone spent the summer with the three other best big men in the NBA at the time. And despite being 33 years old, this directly led to a boosted performance from Malone, as he went on to win his first MVP award, narrowly beating out Michael Jordan. He put up 27 points, just under 10 rebounds, and 4.5 assists a game to lead Utah to the 1 seed out west with 64 wins. I definitely don't think it's a coincidence that a 33-year-old Malone ended up posting his best scoring season in 4 years, while also having the greatest team success of his entire career. You can thank the Olympics for that. For the third iteration of Team USA with professionals, we got the most underwhelming roster to date. But what's interesting though, is the player who got the stimulus this time around barely made the team, as Ray Allen was actually the very last player that was selected when America's basketball committee was coming together making this roster. If I had to describe where Ray stood in terms of the NBA community back in 2000, I'd say he was viewed in a similar light to how Chris Middleton was during his prime. A well-rounded, high-level wing who could score at all three levels. Was Ray on the level of the best two guards in the league? Definitely not. He made his first All-Star team in 2000, but he was yet to make an All-NBA team at this point. However, after sneaking onto the Olympics roster, he ended up having a larger role on the team than expected, as he put up respectable numbers in the tournament, scoring just under 10 a game. And after being on the same team as a pair of all-defensive guards in Gary Payton and Jason Kidd, his game ascended to a new level in 2001. Allen's numbers jumped across the board, as well as improved shooting splits. Not only that, but he led the Milwaukee Bucks to the 2 seed in the East. In the playoffs, he flat out played like a superstar, leading his team to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals before they got eliminated by the Sixers. While he did have greater team success down the line with Boston and Miami, 2001 was the farthest a team ever went with Ray Allen as the primary option. The 2004 team really tested this theory to its limit, mainly because it was such a disaster from start to finish. If I had to pick someone though, it would be Amare Stoudemire. As you may already know, this team infamously only took home the bronze medal and had many locker room issues throughout. During the exhibition games, Amare was one of 3 players to get suspended due to missing a team meeting beforehand. This didn't earn him any favors in terms of playing time, as he received the second least amount of minutes per game, just ahead of Carmelo Anthony. So in terms of Olympic experience, it was about as bad as it could get. However, immediately after this turbulent summer, Amare ascended to a new level as he put up a career-high 26 points per game while helping lead the Suns to the 1 seed in the West with 62 wins. Of course, this was also the first season that point guard Steve Nash came to Phoenix, so that definitely played a part in his meteoric rise as well. But at the end of the day, like others on this list, Amare's peak began the season immediately after the Olympics. This is a case where multiple players received the stimulus. The Redeem team was led by LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Kobe Bryant. And to briefly gloss over it, all three of them followed up their gold medal with career years. While Dwayne Wade didn't have very much team success, as Miami was barely above 500, he had by far the best individual season of his career, leading the league in scoring with 30 points a game. As for LeBron, this is when he first started to scratch the surface as potentially being the greatest ever, as he went on to win the first of his 4 MVP awards. And Kobe also went on to have the greatest playoff run of his career, as he averaged 35-5 en route to his 4th championship and first finals MVP. This was maybe the clearest case of the stimulus directly leading to a boost in performance, as we saw the top 3 players in the league at the time all take their games to an entirely new level. For the second Olympics in a row, the stimulus affected multiple players. This time, it was Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James. For Melo, he won the sole scoring title of his career in 2013, while leading his Knicks to the 2 seed in the East with 54 wins. And we also saw what many think is peak LeBron in 2013, as he played the most well-rounded basketball of his career. He was unstoppable on offense, as he shot 40% from 3, and was also a juggernaut on the defensive end, as he finished 2nd in Defensive Player of the Year voting. He won the regular season MVP, led the Heat to 66 wins, highlighted by an unprecedented 27-game winning streak, and of course capped it all off with another NBA title and Finals MVP. Both of these guys had the best year of their career in 2013, and it's pretty obvious why. While this instance is probably the least memorable of all those on this list, the rule definitely still applied to Jimmy Butler following the 2016 games in Rio. Up until this point in his career, Butler was steadily rising to all-star status as his offensive game was gradually catching up to his incredible defensive ability. Like the Ray Allen instance before, Jimmy had been a fringe all-star at this point in his career, but nothing more than that. When he came back from the Olympics for the 2017 season, he was on an absolute mess of a roster with no shooting, big men, or real co-star to accompany him. Despite that, he put up career-high numbers across the board, somehow dragging this team to 41 wins and a playoff berth. This was the first year that he was out of D-Rose's shadow, and he immediately proved that he could be the first option on a contending team. I'm going to assume that training with KD every day the summer prior had something to do with this. And in the final case we'll look at, we have none other than Jason Tatum. I know it doesn't seem like it right now, but there was a point where Tatum was seen as the next one to carry the torch for Team USA. On a team that was mostly devoid of top-end talent aside from Kevin Durant, a 23-year-old JT stepped up for America, as he was the second leading scorer for Team USA en route to another gold medal. When he came back for the 2022 season, he flat out became one of the best players in the entire NBA. He put up career-high numbers in points, rebounds, and assists per game, while playing the best defense of his career to lead the Celtics all the way to the NBA Finals. This was without a doubt his coming out party as a true superstar, as he made All-NBA First Team for the first time in his career. At this point, I think it's pretty irrefutable that there is at the very least a correlation between playing for Team USA in the Olympics and someone from the roster taking their game to a new level the year after. The only question left is, who is it going to be this year? I think it's pretty easy to assume that the older guys like LeBron, KD, Steph, and Drew aren't going to be taking a crazy leap. They are who they are at this point. Derek White's a great role player, but he's north of 30 as well, and just quite simply won't have enough opportunities on a loaded Celtics team. Bam has definitely shown some promise with his ability to stretch the floor in these Olympics, but I don't buy it from the NBA three-point line. And on top of that, the Heat are a whole mess in terms of roster construction at the moment. Anthony Davis can maybe take the leap, but it would really just depend on if his jumper's falling in 2025. And he hasn't shown much development on that front in the Olympics. And speaking of jump shooting, Jason Tatum's jumper is just completely broken at the moment, and will probably be the topic of my next video, but regardless, I don't see him taking a crazy leap because of this issue. That leaves us with Tyrese Haliburton, Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, and Joel Embiid. While he's been on the bench for pretty much this entire Olympic run, I can definitely see Tyrese benefiting from all of the scrimmaging against Drew Holiday and Derek White in practice, and wouldn't be surprised if he bumped up his scoring a bit, while the Pacers as a team once again improve. But will it be that much better than the All-NBA season he just had the year prior? I don't know if I'd count on it. For Devin Booker, I can see him either being boom or bust in 2025. He's shown an incredible willingness to do the dirty work for Team USA, taking on point of attack defensive assignments, and doing a very good job at it. If he can bring that same energy into next season, and some of the smaller roster moves that Phoenix made lead to better team success, he very well may be the one that qualifies for this list. However, the Suns are still pretty clearly a step below the best teams in the West, and I can also certainly see his defense taking a step back in the NBA, as he has to take on a heavier scoring load there. With Anthony Edwards, I feel like on paper, it makes the most sense for him to be the one that breaks out. He's heading into his age 23 season, and is coming back to a Minnesota team that's a legit contender. However, I still feel like he's another year or so away from really making the jump to MVP contention. It definitely could end up being Ant, but I still think there's someone left where it just makes a bit more sense. And that player is Joel Embiid. Last year, he was the frontrunner for MVP before a knee injury cost him award consideration and the Sixers any real chance of competing for a title. But heading into this year, Daryl Morey put together one of the best supporting casts in the NBA for him, with the addition of Paul George to flank Joel and Tyrese Maxey. And Embiid has also been going up against two of the best defenders in the league all summer in AD and Bam. Sparring with the top guys at your position often yields great results. And to top it off, the first seed in the East could definitely be open for grabs this year, as Kristaps Porzingis will likely miss a good chunk of the season due to him recovering from a knee injury that he suffered in the finals. So out of all the guys we looked at, I think the Sixers grabbing a top 2 seed in the East, while Embiid once again leads the league in scoring to win another MVP trophy, is what I think is realistically most likely to happen in the coming season. But then again, Embiid's lengthy injury history could very well derail this case, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. To wrap it all up, I think one of Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards, or Joel Embiid is going to have a career-defining year in 2025. And that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comments who you guys think is going to receive the stimulus package this year. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next video.